if you focus on being kind to yourself and giving your body what it needs, then your hair will generally follow. And also don't be afraid of reaching out for help. I'm South African Mauritian. I was born into apartheid, and in apartheid, the whole aim for anyone who wasn't white was to try to assimilate into white culture so that you would be able to get access to, basic standards of living. A lot of people from the diaspora around the world have faced the same issues that I had faced around, learning how to care for my natural hair as opposed to the chemically processed hair that I'd been getting processed since I was 8 years old.
I'm really curious about your journey with the Organic Afro and the community that you've built.
I actually made it 9 years ago, just to put like the information that I was finding out into like a space for other people to have a look at if they wanted to. Like, I didn't go out with the intention of, oh, I'm going to make this like this community and people are going to share their stories and all of this, wonderful stuff. I just went out there and thought, you know what, I'm doing all of this, research. Let me just share it and see if anyone else is going through the same thing as me. And that being 9 years ago, a lot of people turned out to be wanting to explore the same things as me, and find out more about how to care for their natural hair. And what I did find out unexpectedly is that, a lot of people from the diaspora around the world have faced the same issues that I had faced around, learning how to care for my natural hair as opposed to the chemically processed hair that, I'd been getting processed since I was 8 years old.
Sounds like you were relaxing it quite a bit, and then to embrace your natural hair and start working with your hair maybe rather than against it. And you began to share some of what you were learning through that journey. And what were you learning exactly?
I started chemically straightening my hair when I was 8 because my mum, who actually does have a similar texture to me, she'd been chemically straightening her hair since she was very young. So she didn't actually know how to manage my hair or care for it at all. And we were living in Australia in very remote places. Once a year, we'd make a trip to this shop. I think it was called Cape to Cairo. They had a lot of, African imports, and she would pick up, a couple of boxes, one for her and one for me. And we would do this thing. When I was 16, 17, I just started questioning, like, why am I putting these because I looked at the box, and I realized that, most times that I'd done my hair, I'd feel burning, and I was just like, hang on, like, why does it hurt? Like, why does it hurt? Why does it take so much time to make my hair look like something else other than what it is? Like, what is going on here? And the more I started to look at the products and what was going on there, I realized that, yes, there's all of these damaging products in here. And that's actually what pushed me into like going deeper with the Organic Afro, because I realized that a lot of spaces were pushing, the popular products that make the curls or textures look a certain way. And in reality, I was like, well, what would be the point of harming ourselves to look a certain way? So I started looking for more natural products, and that's actually what led me to find out that actually natural products are generally better for our health all round, because a lot of these chemicals that are used in even like natural hair products, which aren't natural products, they're just for natural hair, are leading to things like cancers and fibroids, and just a lot of the ailments that are, you know, facing, that our communities are facing, people, you know, people of color and people who are in minority groups are facing these extraordinary like rates of you know, cancers and early onset periods for girls, and just, you know, just things that are destroying our endocrine systems and destroying our health in general, based on the principle of looking a certain way that will be accepted by society. I'm South African Mauritian. You know, I was born into apartheid, and in apartheid, the whole aim for anyone who wasn't white was to try to assimilate into white culture so that you would be able to get access to, you know, basic standards of living. That's why it was so important for, you know, my mom to, you know, make sure that I knew how to make my hair a certain way so that I could, you know, you know, in her mind, access a better quality of life. So yeah, as a 17-year-old, when it was about identity, and it was about, you know, learning how to, and self-acceptance, and learning how to accept myself. And then there was really exciting to not feel alone in the journey, but it was also saddening to me, you know, just the realization that we've had this expectation to fit into Eurocentric standards of beauty. You know, identity is a huge, like a huge piece to play, because we're so, you know, we're so used to seeing our hair in front of ourselves. When we look in the mirror, it's what frames our face. We identify a lot with that, and it says a lot about ourselves. And a lot of people felt that, you know, they maybe wouldn't be able to get a promotion if they embraced their natural hair, or they wouldn't be able to, you know, even some people felt that they might not be able to find a partner if they embrace their natural hair, or even people who were married were worried about what their or you know, in a partnership, would worry about what their significant other would think about them undergoing the journey.
Last Christmas, a lot of women would come to me and say, oh, my daughter's looking for a turban, she's got curly hair. I didn't know where she got it from. And I would look at her hair and I'd say, you've actually got curly hair. You've just been straightening it for so long that you may not know it anymore, but you have curly hair. That's where your daughter got it from. I feel like there is a move now where we're seeing women of different generations and also different backgrounds embracing their natural hair. But do you agree? Like, how far do you feel we've come, and how much farther is there to go?
I still feel like there's a way to go, because from what I've found, is that a lot of people expect their hair to look a certain way every day, and people expect themselves to have a certain look, you know, every day.
Yeah.
When actually, you know, different seasons and different timings of our life mean that we might not be able to have one
That
singular look. We're complex beings.
Yeah.
We live in an ever changing environment, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure to, you know, have a certain visage all the time, and live up to one version of ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think that we can be many versions of ourselves at the same time. It doesn't matter what texture you are, because everyone has their own unique textures, I should say, because most people have multiple textures. That's just as unique as your thumbprint. I've even spoken to people who are Mexican, and people who are from Poland, even, who have curly hair, and they faced, you know, this whole standard of beauty is, you know, damaging everyone everywhere. And I think that's what, you know, I have personally kind of grown to understand, that this is something that's affecting everyone. Yes, I come from a certain perspective of it, but most people have been conditioned to feel that they aren't beautiful, or that they're not enough, or that they needed to do something to change the way they look, to, you know, express their beauty.
Mm-hmm. That pressure to conform is definitely still there. And pulling against it, I think, is the pressure to express yourself and to find and chart your own path,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like.
Like my whole, you know, I'm very committed to each person being able to express and embrace their own unique individual beauty, without feeling pressure to conform. I think it's also, it is a part of, you know, human nature to want to sort of fit in and not be an outsider.
Yeah.
Also, you know, yes, there is that, you know, that pressure, that internal pressure. However, there should also be the, you know, love and understanding for ourselves, and that we still fit, we still belong, and still have a place, regardless of what is the look of the moment, and how everyone else looks around us. I was 17. There were very few people who looked like me where I was living, and there were definitely the very minimal representation in the media of people who looked like me, and even then, people who looked like me tended, yeah, I know, tended to be, you know, wanting, really feeling like they had the pressure to conform.
Yeah.
I just remember people being like, oh, like, what are you doing now? Like, what is this? It's just a phase. Like, but like, what have you done to your hair? Or why don't you do something with your hair? You know, was a comment. But yeah, it was about finding out where I fit in my community, and also just within the world. And I kind of always did have an image, like, I just had this kind of vision of me being able to do what I wanted to do, and be who I wanted to be, and I knew that I had to